We are carefully following the path of Hurricane Epstein right now. It is a Category 5. It's expected to make landfall sometime very soon. We are now one step closer to answering the question, what did the president know and how old were these women? How did we wind up with a president and a vice president who wear more makeup than Kylie Jenner and Lady Gaga combined?
Craziness. Meanwhile, the government is shut down and the Republicans who currently are in charge of Congress, they're not even pretending to solve the problem. They have not even been showing up to work.
Jimmy Kimmel and Barack Obama just went after Trump and JD Vance like they were competing in some kind of championship roast. And honestly, it was brutal and hilarious at the same time. The whole thing had that chaotic energy where even the camera crew couldn't stay steady. And when Obama dropped that one line, Kimmel almost walked off the stage laughing. If you didn't catch it live, don't worry. We're breaking down every wild, unfiltered moment right now.
Meanwhile, with all this going on, he posted up a storm on Truth Social this week, and he covered a range of topics from Biden and his auto pen to photos of his new ballroom. He bragged about getting the
on the air, and to the extent that he isn't in certain stations, it's because he's not funny because his ratings aren't very good.
I have some good news for you, J-Dog. We're back on all
the 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes.
Jimmy Kimmel walks into Trump's political chaos the same way someone steps into a kitchen where the smoke alarm won't shut up. Just calmly taking in the disaster Trump keeps leaving behind. Every stumble, every meltdown, every dramatic twist that should have been boring politics suddenly looks like a tabloid circus. And Kimmel treats it like premium comedy material. Because honestly, the spectacle never shrinks. It only gets louder by the hour.
Both the House and Senate voted to release the long-withheld files related to a man who considered himself to be Trump's closest friend for more than a decade, the late sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein. The vote in Congress went 427-1. It was such a landslide, Trump might actually be able to rebury the Epstein files under him. The Senate today sent the bill to the White House. Now, usually when Trump gets a bill, he declares bankruptcy and doesn't pay it, but this one, he's got.
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, because Barack Obama comes in with this smooth, sarcastic delivery that makes Trump's messiest moments feel like they're being judged at a school science fair built entirely out of glue. He calls out how Trump turns the tiniest inconvenience into some grand declaration of greatness, and the contrast hits so hard it practically echoes. Even JD Vance can't escape the blast radius.
There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes. I heard someone compare Trump to the neighbor who keeps running his leaf blower outside your window every minute of every day. From a neighbor, that's exhausting. From a president, it's...
Jimmy Kimmel jumps back in and puts JD Vance on display like a guy who really wants to look powerful but keeps tripping over the script he thinks important people are supposed to follow. Watching him go from best-selling author to hype man sidekick feels like a sitcom plot nobody asked for. And every time he tries to stand tall, he just wobbles harder. The whole spectacle is aging and fast forward.
Vice President Maybelline was making the rounds, attempting to defend his boss and the chairman. He hasn't been this nervous about signing something since Don Jr.'s birth certificate. And he's not the only one. Speaker Mike Johnson, who shut most of Washington down for like 2 months to try to avoid this, very much wanted to amend the bill to allow them to redact names to protect the innocent. His fellow Republican majority leader in the Senate rejected that idea, which was very upsetting to the Speaker of the House.
I'm deeply disappointed in this outcome. I think I'm told...
Barack Obama picks up the thread and explains how Trump turns every podium moment into a victory lap that literally no one else saw. He points out the way Trump's bragging gets louder the more unstable things look, while JD Vance trails behind waving metaphorical pom-poms like he accidentally signed up for the wrong competition. The energy keeps spiraling with almost impressive commitment.
We and our politics are in a pretty dark place right now. It's hard to know where to start because every day this White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and recklessness and mean-spiritedness.
Jimmy Kimmel jumps in with that sharp observational sting, painting Trump as a guy who wakes up ready to announce some big triumph before remembering he hasn't actually done anything yet. The confidence always beats the reality, like a drum that refuses to stay in tune. JD Vance keeps trying to dance along beside him, totally out of rhythm, turning confusion into entertainment. Trump leans on theatrics like swagger can fix everything, and JD Vance copies that swagger with the enthusiasm of someone doing political cosplay. Then Kimmel pushes the roast further, pointing out how Trump treats every press appearance like show and tell, but nothing he brings ever matches the story he's selling. JD Vance claps along anyway, hoping the applause alone earns him credibility. It all plays out like a weekly sitcom gag on repeat.
House will vote, and we'll see how that goes. Turns out all Trump had to do was threaten to starve poor people, and he got his way. I'm sure he'll never do it again, though. Speaker Mike Johnson praised the bill, which is kind of all you need to know. He said he's glad Democrats are finally ready to do what the American people have been asking them to do for weeks. Great, and then maybe you'll finally be ready to do what the American people have been asking you to do for months and release.
Barack Obama keeps the momentum rolling, describing Trump's decision-making like someone trying to follow a very confusing instruction manual. Every plan looks stitched together with hope, luck, and the wish that people won't notice the loose ends. JD Vance stands proudly beside him, as if every unraveling thread is actually a badge of honor. Kimmel sharpens the roast by showing how Trump tries to spin every awkward moment into a heroic story, loud enough to make the story stick through sheer volume. Obama leans in again, saying Trump's leadership feels like bold declarations assembled without instructions. The pieces almost connect but don't quite fit. And JD Vance still presents each half-built idea like it's a masterpiece, ready for display. The misalignment becomes a whole pattern that roasts itself.
The reason some people think, wow, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good, because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left.
Jimmy Kimmel highlights the melodrama that follows Trump everywhere, where even tiny inconveniences become these huge cosmic challenges only he can overcome. JD Vance watches with the excitement of someone sitting front row at a show he doesn't really understand, and the confusion turns into pure comedy. Obama breaks it down by showing how Trump treats every setback like a dramatic plot twist, except the twists make more noise than sense. JD Vance hangs on every moment like he memorized the lines 10 minutes before going on stage. Then Obama adds that Trump's plans expand and collapse like balloon animals made by a hopelessly optimistic clown. The confidence stays strong even when the shape doesn't. JD Vance still holds up the misshapen results like long-awaited masterpieces. Kimmel digs deeper, comparing Trump's grand announcements to fireworks that sparkle for a second then vanish into a blurry cloud. And JD Vance stands proudly in that haze as if it's some badge of loyalty. The whole thing drips with unearned triumph.
About the price of beef, he plugged his son Eric's book, he bashed Nancy Pelosi, he complained about voter ID, and we learned he's trying to get the NFL to name a stadium after him. Trump reportedly wants the Washington Commanders to give him naming rights to their new stadium. Why would anyone ever want to name anything after Don? I mean, Look at Don Jr. It's not exactly a winning.
Barack Obama keeps the rhythm going, painting Trump as a guy constantly trying to prove a point no one else remembers, building up this dramatic energy that starts to feel like its own atmosphere. J.D. Vance cheers along even when the whole purpose gets lost, and the awkwardness becomes comedy. Jimmy Kimmel jumps in and shows how Trump approaches every headline like a craft project he wants to decorate until it looks flattering, even if the whole thing ends up oversized and ridiculous. J.D. Vance defends each claim like he's guarding a castle made of wet cardboard. It keeps sagging, but he keeps smiling. Kimmel continues, describing Trump's non-stop polishing of his image like a hobby that's completely out of control. Obama returns with that calm breakdown, stacking Trump's missteps into a wobbly tower of mismatched expectations, and J.D. Vance proudly tries to sell the whole incomplete puzzle like it's premium quality.
Views were not in my White House. I wasn't embracing them. I wasn't empowering them. I wasn't putting the weight of the United States government behind extremist views. And that is when we have the weight of the United States government behind extremist views.
Jimmy Kimmel keeps the fire going, turning Trump's daily claims into a running joke where every new brag gets taller until it hits cartoon height. J.D. Vance backs each one with the loyalty of a man building a monument to uncertainty, and the monument leans more every time. Obama dives back in and makes Trump's theatrics sound like performances written for applause that never comes, so Trump just gets louder. Vance hangs on to every moment like the lights aren't already flickering. Obama then explains how Trump treats policy like a buffet where nothing matches, but he piles everything onto the plate anyway, and J.D. Vance presents that mess like it's fine dining. Kimmel jumps back into the roast, describing Trump's public failures like dramatic episodes narrated with way too much fanfare, and J.D. Vance proudly lifts every blunder like it's a trophy. The comedy doubles with every beat.
Down for like 2 months to try to avoid this, very much wanted to amend the bill to allow them to redact names to protect the innocent. His fellow Republican majority leader in the Senate rejected that idea, which was very upsetting to the Speaker of the House.
I'm deeply disappointed in this outcome. I think, I'm told, I've been at the state dinner, I don't know, I was just told that Chuck Schumer rushed it to the floor and put it out there preemptively. It needed amendments. I just spoke to the president about that. We'll see what happens.
So is he? Do you think he may veto it? You say you spoke to the president?
I'm not saying that.
Is he supportive of it in its current form?
We both have concerns about it, so we'll see.
Poor little guy had to get out of there before the ketchup bottles started flying at his head. They are so scared of Trump. What is going on? Is he beating them? I don't get it. They just blindly defend him. They don't know what's in those files. They're taking his word for it. They're taking the word of someone who paid a porn star $130,000 and claims he didn't.
Barack Obama keeps the flow steady, showing Trump as a hero in his own story who keeps tripping over his own cape, and the cape gets longer with every brag. J.D. Vance tries to hold it up without realizing it's dragging across chaos, which becomes its own punchline. Jimmy Kimmel adds to it by comparing Trump's statistics to art painted with giant messy strokes where nothing stays inside the lines. J.D. Vance still presents these contradictions like precious gems, even though the shine just isn't there, and the irony is brighter than the jewels. Kimmel wraps it by showing Trump's obsession with appearing victorious in moments no one can even understand, while J.D. Vance stays proudly beside him, glowing with confidence. Obama closes the stretch with a calm take that makes Trump's chaos sound almost artistic. Almost.
You know, a lot of people have asked me lately whether I'm surprised by the direction the country's taking. And even though I am the hope and change guy, I try to be honest with them. So I say yes, there are things I am worried about. I am worried about how quickly basic democratic rules and norms have been weakened. I'm worried about how willing Republicans in Congress have been to surrender their role as members of a co-equal branch of government, refusing to buck the president even when they know.
J.D. Vance keeps holding up every chaotic piece like a trophy, not realizing the whole frame is sliding out of his hands, and that stumble becomes the perfect ending note. Jimmy Kimmel picks the energy back up, framing Trump's latest blunders as a traveling circus act that keeps expanding even though nobody asked for another show. Vance stays close, polishing every misstep like it's some rare collectible, beaming with pride even as the whole tower leans so far it's practically waving. Kimmel jumps in again, turning Trump's reactions into wild improv scenes that look like they're about to fall apart any second, while J.D. Vance nods behind him like he's cheering on a volcano mid-eruption. Obama closes it all with a smooth tone, making Trump's rapid-fire declarations sound like chapters from an unfinished novel written way too fast. And J.D. Vance guards every shaky detail like he's convinced it's already a bestseller. And somehow, the comedy lands perfectly.